Because it's easy to make promises to somebody, especially when you are already in a relationship. It's easy for somebody to make promises to you and promise you they're going to do this and they're going to give you that. They're going to take care of you and all this and that. Anybody could sit there and you know, come up with all these lame promises because it's really a salesman pitch. You know, it's all about saying whatever, doing whatever to convince you, you know, to give in, basically. You know, it's always, you know, side niggas or whatever have a way of sometimes, you know, selling women dreams. Selling women dreams that they know they're not even about to live up to. They know they're not even going to do half of that. But basically, now that she's been out there, you know, she sees it's not all what it's cracked up to be. And the main thing is, a woman, reality hits for a woman that has been in a relationship for a long time, especially when she's been married to a provider or a man who has taken care of her. She feels that struggle. It's the struggle that she's feeling more than anything. Okay? The struggle done got real. Now she got to pay them bills by herself. Now she got to take care of those children by herself. And ironically, another thing that tends to happen is women who decide to walk out of their marriages or walk out of their relationships is because they don't let mama in their ear. They don't let their friends in their ear. You know how it is. Women, when we get in our feelings, it don't take much for somebody to convince us. You know, I mean, unfortunately, it shouldn't be like that. But that's just the way it is. It don't take much for somebody else to convince us, you know, to leave our situation or whatever. But the bad part about it is the same people who convince you to leave your situation or to walk out on your situations are the ones who ain't there for you. That's the bad part. Women find that out. Females find that out the hard way. They always end up falling up behind somebody who manipulate them and convince them, whether if it's their jealous girlfriends or whether if it's their mama done been in 8, 9 different relationships, been married 3, 4, 5 times or whatever. They let all kind of the wrong women get in their ear who don't know anything. That's just why, me personally, I've been married 17 years. I'm the only woman in my family so far that been married to the same husband for a long time. You know, no disrespect to my moms, anybody else in my family. You know, my mom been married about 5, 6 times. You know what I mean? Everybody, my aunts, just about everybody, you know, on their third, the husband number 3, husband number 2, whatever the case. And, you know, I just was never one to really follow up too strongly behind people. I've always done what I felt was best. You know, I had a weak moment when I got upset and people got in my ear and said things that almost had me going. But for the most part, I followed my own mind. I had to do what was best for me. I had to make decisions that, you know, I felt was best for me and my husband. And at the end of the day, we sustained it and we worked through it. But you got a lot of these females now, they're not really, these females today, they kind of watered down. They don't have wife potentials. You know, they got girlfriend potentials or paycheck potentials or baby mama potentials. But when it come down to being a wife, somebody that's going to be dedicated and willing to weather the storms and whatever, they're not going to do that, you know, because the majority of them, it's all about benefits. They're all about trying to benefit. As long as husband is paying the bill, as long as husband is providing, it's too many people it's a lot of women that's the reason why a lot of women are so obsessed with being married. A lot of them, because they're more obsessed with the idea of being married and having a marriage instead of, you know, really having a marriage. They're more obsessed with the idea instead of the realism of being married. Anybody can want to get married because it's the idea of it. The idea of the dress, the venue, the location, the building. Women are so in love with the wedding part and not understanding that the marriage, that's really the part that's where you're going to get tested at more than anything. You're going to be tested because there's a lot of temptation. There's going to be a lot of people in your ears. There's going to be people coming at you full throttle. When you married, that's when people come at you full throttle. People don't come at you when you're single. People don't could care less. It's kind of like you go to the food court at the mall. You're not gonna go to the restaurant. You're not gonna go to the restaurant where you only see 1 or 2 people in line, cause you're gonna automatically figure food must be ain't that good, you know. But if you see a different restaurant and it's 8, 9 people standing outside the door and the line built around the corner, that's what's gonna make you curious. You see a lot of customers at that particular restaurant. Oh, my husband's still on the roof. He's a roofer, so he does roofing for a living. That's basically what draws people to you when they see somebody else has a significant amount of interest in you. You're not about to go eat at a restaurant where it's only 2 customers. You're going to go to a restaurant where you see 10, 15 customers because the main line bit around the corner, because the main thing you think is, wow, their food must be really good. They got a line that long, you know, let's go over here. I know the wait going to be a little longer, but you want to go where there's quality. You want to go where there's good food. And that's how marriage works. Again, back to the point that I was making. Sometimes people want to come back to you because of what they tried to do fail. And you got to really kind of use discernment, because it's a 50-50 chance you probably getting like played in the process, because you get some that do go out there and genuinely learn a lesson, you know what I mean, but it didn't take them getting, there's a difference between, you know, learning your lesson and it took you getting ran all the way through for you to learn your lesson. Like, for example, what I mean by that is, it's different if somebody, you know, you and that person had a rift in your relationship, and that person goes out there and, you know, after a day or so, they realize, you know what, I shouldn't even left my wife or my husband, you know what I mean? Let me try to go back home and try to make things work, and I see everything out here and always cracked at the beat. That's one thing. But when you have somebody who done been out there for months, you know how much penis that person done had, how many people they done been with. You know what I'm saying? Now you want to come back now that you done been used and abused, and see, because niggas in the street just laid you and played you. Now you want to come back here because you done wore out. Now you tired. You tired of the streets. You tired of your walls getting stretched. Now you want to come back home and be a wife. It amazes me. It amazes me that some men do that. I've seen situations where a female done moved a whole nother man in this man's house. I mean, y'all wasn't even really divorced. It was just a separation period. The true story. And she moved a whole nother man in his house. I could only imagine that, okay, so when you let this man in your house, he's sleeping in the same bed that your husband was sleeping in, eating off the same plate your husband was sitting in. I mean, he was around the kids and all that. I mean, I just never seen anything like that. And this man had the audacity to go back to her in that same house. I'm like, wow. I mean, what happened to the kings? I'm starting to see a lot of peasants. What's up with that, men? I've never. Why men not taking charge no more? Why y'all still with women who have really embarrassed y'all in the public, disgraced y'all, done been with all kind of men, and now that whole walls are worn out? You know what I'm saying? You welcoming her with open arms. I mean, ain't like y'all separated for like a week or so, okay. I mean, I was talking about almost months. I mean, they were separated for almost a year. And for him to just not even, you know, give it a second thought to just go back to her, not realizing the only reason she come back was because she tired. She didn't get all the same attention she first was getting when she got out there. That's the trick to cheating married couples, people in relationships. That's the trick to cheating. That's why you can't really follow up behind cheating. You can't really, you know, play in the game, because it's nothing but a trick. Everybody wants you as long as you got somebody. The moment you let that person go and all of that, you're not going to get the same amount of attention that person was giving you. That person was giving you a lot of attention because at the time they knew you were with someone. So basically, they had to throw a sales pitch to sell you. to manipulate you to buy into whatever game, you know what I'm saying, they was using. So, of course, you know, they're going to sound like they genuine and they mean well. And it's a bunch of bull crap. I've seen so many women do that. And I'm going to just be honest with you. And I'm not going to sound perfect. You know, it's things, you know, I've never gotten to that point where I went to bed with anyone. But I've allowed people to entertain me when I was going through a vulnerable moment. But one thing about me was, the reason why I never really took it there like I could have, because I knew in the back of my mind, I said, wait a minute, I'm vulnerable right now. I'm going through a moment with my husband. We're not in good terms. We're having a bad moment right now. I can't really entertain this nigga because I'm vulnerable. I'm not in a good place with my husband, so anything this nigga say gonna sound good. Because right now, I'm not in a good place with my dude, so it ain't gonna take much. You know what I'm saying? You know, kind of like if you ain't got no job, or the job you on, no, let's say you got a job, but that job give you so many problems. It's such a hassle, so much drama on that job. Somebody come to you and offer you a job, well, I tell you what, you know, I'm hiring over here. You know, my pay is such and such an hour. I could put you on by next week. Depending on what the hell you're going through on that job, that's going to sound like a very good, tempting offer. And you're going to jump ship and go to your next job, and you ain't even give yourself a chance to really see what this other job consisted of because you were so vulnerable and pissed off with what you was going through at the moment. Yeah, they gave you a quick offer, but you get on this job, they working you way more hours. The pay not that great. Is most of you got to put up with. And guess what? But guess what? You stuck there. You stuck there. And some women get stuck there. You know, they walk out and leave their relationships, leave their marriages, whatever, and go out there with the next dude and get stuck. Can't even reverse it. You know what I'm saying? Some men too. I've seen men do that. I've seen men leave really good women because this other woman over here, because she looked better, she looked good, seemed like she had a lot to offer. Find out that not only she got a lot to offer, she got a lot of drama to offer too. She got a lot of chaos to offer. She got a lot of bills to offer. While you was over here and you had everything in alignment, you knew what to expect with your bills. You knew what to expect as far as expenses because you and your wife been together for years. You go over here, hell, you got to learn this person all over again. You got to reprogram your finances because this woman over here may spend way more than the woman you was married to. Sure, the woman you was married to was a pain in the ass, but she wasn't draining your bank account. You done with this new chick now, and she draining the hell out your bank account. She may don't give you no drama, you know, and you may ain't going through, but hell, guess what? Care who you with, you gonna go through something. Especially if y'all been together for years. You ain't gonna be with somebody no over 10 years and have it perfect. I've been with my husband 17 years. We weathered a lot of storms. I mean, stuff we've been through, anybody else would have gave up on a long time ago. But the woman in me just knew, you know, I had to allow him to mature. And I had to mature. He was wild. I dealt with all that foolishness. And we went through all the cheating. We went through all the games, the lies, and all of that. When you young and dumb, relationships don't come with a manual. A lot of stuff you're going to have to experience. I don't give a damn what somebody say. Don't sit up there and let somebody tell you, if I was you, I wouldn't take this, I wouldn't take that. Because guess what? We all going to take something. Unless you with Jesus. That's the only way you ain't got to take anything. Unless you're in a relationship with him. And you still going to have to take some stuff. Especially while you're still here on this earth. But my thing is, that's way off the subject. I know I'm all over the place, guys. But sometimes people don't really appreciate you for you. People appreciate the benefits that you provide. So you have to read in between the lines. When somebody say, I realize I messed up, I need to come back home, this and that. Months. They wait till months to tell you that. They wait till 2-3 dudes later. They done been with this one guy. They done decided to walk out and leave you to go pursue this other option. And that didn't work out. So my thing is, when if it did work out, I mean, would you have learned? Would you have learned? Would you have, you know what I mean? When if it didn't work out? you still wouldn't have reconsidered what you had over here. And I seen a lot of, I'm just starting to notice a lot of men are starting to take a whole lot of crap. I mean, back in the day, it was just stuff men didn't stand for. Especially if a woman done been out there on them before and done already had somebody out on. I mean, you got men dealing with females who done got pregnant on them and all kind of. I mean, I've known women to take a lot of stuff. I mean, that's how it's always been. Our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, our aunts. It's always been that way. And I'm not condoning women, but when you get a man I sit up there, it just makes that man look, I don't want to say like cottonelle tissue. I just never seen so many men get disrespected and can still walk around like they a king and not feel embarrassed that you are with a woman who done disgraced herself, done been out there with another man, and you can walk around here with your chest poke out and be proud of it. Nah, brother, you don't get no brownie points for staying with a woman who done disrespected you, done had a man on you and done tarnished. She carrying your last name. How she carrying your last name, but then she laying